to hear him speak today, Mr. Akinyosoye Franklin Oluremi. He has an MBA, an MSc, and a doctorate degree in business administration. He's a fellow of the Institute of Management Consultants. He's also a fellow certified management consultant associate, and he's also a Chartered Institute of Personnel Management. He's also a CMD accredited trainer and a member of the Institute's director. He's also an accredited BDSP, and he's the current president of the Association of the Business Development Professionals of Nigeria. I mean, I could go on and on and on and on with his CV, but without further ado, please, ladies and gentlemen, please welcome with me our speaker for today, Mr. Akinyosoye Franklin Oluremi. Good morning, sir. Good morning, Mr. Franklin. Your mic is currently muted. We apologize for the technical hitch there. While our speaker gets ready to speak, I want us to get prepared to learn and also ask questions. As the MD said, our theme for this webinar is financial literacy and limited access to finance. And I believe that we have a number of questions for our speaker today that would relate to finance. So get your pens and paper and get ready to also glean from his wealth of experience. Good morning, Mr. Franklin. We can't hear you. I can hear you.
Okay, can you hear me?
Yes, absolutely. Much better. Good morning, sir.
Morning. How are you?
Fine, fine, fine. Thank you. The floor is yours, sir.
I'm fine, thank you. Thank you for the introduction, and thank you for the opportunity to do this. I won't take it for granted. I'm in the middle of another program, like I told Mrs. Toyin the other day, but I said because it's WenA and I'm close to WenA, I would like to be part of the program. So I had to clear my schedule to come out of the program I am to be able to take this. I'll be grateful if your team can help me project from your end. I can do it here too, but it might take some time to have to. Thank you. We are looking at, I don't know, can I go on?
Yes, please, sir.
Okay, thank you. We are going to be looking at limited access to finance and financial literacy as it affects SMEs. I'll start the introduction by saying that in Nigeria today, one of the problems or challenges that an SME has or should have and shouldn't have is the issue of finance. While everybody have agreed that SME is one of the factors for the growth or for the building of nationhood and growth of GDP, then shouldn't we all be focused on it to ensure that that sector has all it takes to drive, to push, to propel the economy? So that's why I use the word that it shouldn't have issues of finance. It's just like you know that your sickness is malaria and they are giving you artesunate or they are giving you chloroquine and you say you are not taking it. Or we say that there is COVID-19 and there are immunization that relates to COVID-19 and you say you are not taking it. So that's why I said it shouldn't have been a problem. It shouldn't be a problem. But this is where we find ourselves in Nigeria today. We find a situation where the people who are supposed to be driving the economy are having issues to, at the same time, not being able to drive it because what they need to drive have not been provided. Or a situation where it is being provided, but they can't access it because of one thing or the other. And some of those things today we'll be looking at. Because we don't have too much time, I'd like to quickly go into and ask, what is SME? Or what is MSME? SME means small and medium enterprises. Small and mid-sized enterprises are businesses that maintain revenues or a number of employees below a certain threshold. And different parameters have been used to define SMEs. And different sectors have also defined this SME in line with their mandates or objective. CBN have defined their SME. Smidan has defined her SME. World Bank has defined her SME. So everybody defines SME, but the common thing to SMEs are their assets, their revenue, or the number of employees. And like I said, each country has its own definition of what constitutes a small and middle-sized enterprise. Certain size or size criteria must be met. And occasionally, the industry in which the company operates is taken also into account. So if you want to define an SME, you must put into consideration what assets they have, what revenue they make, and what number of staff. Most especially from the development organization like World Bank and Sweden and the rest of them, they take very important the number of staff because it is the impact that they want to make. Let me move on quickly. Small-scale enterprise will be defined as enterprises that operate with total share capital, including work capital and rent, of between 5 million and 50 million, and a workforce of no more than 5 people. Medium-scale enterprises, on the other hand, are the enterprises that operate with a total capital or working capital and rent of between 51 and 500 million, and a workforce of about 10 to 50 people. Okay, small and medium-sized economy, accounting for about 84% of employment, and contribute significantly to the country's GDP. In short, it also contributes close to 70% of the country's GDP. But you find out that if you look at the definitions that are up there, you find out that most organizations in Nigeria are not doing above 500 million. So if you go out there and look for organizations that are doing above 500 million in Nigeria, you can't get more than 5 to 10%, to be realistic. Actually, the Nigeria that we are today, because a few of them have closed up and moved to other parts of the world. So the SMEs that are remaining are indigenous, and they are between 85 and 90% propelling this economy. They are in the artisanate mining, they are in the mining sector, they are majorly in the agricultural sector, they are majorly in the creative arts, and they are all around. You see them even in the informal sector. You can find somebody operating POS. I have a lady, a friend, who operates POS, has 6 POS machines distributed around Abuja. So she has 6 people she pays salaries to every month. She has created job for 6 people, including herself, making 7. So that is a small scale business that is helping to drive the economy, has taken 6 people from idleness, from crime, from prostitution, from all sorts. So you will wonder why such sector of the economy should not have access to finance. Okay, so if we look at what is meant by the limited access to finance, this could be described as to access finance, or the austere nature of finding funds, or the non-availability of loanable funds. One of the biggest challenges faced by SMEs in Nigeria is limited access to traditional funding sources. Many SMEs do not have the collateral. Some do not have the credit history required to secure the loans and other types of financing from banks or other financial institutions, including international funding institutions. And you find out that these people are there, they are doing their businesses within their little microcosm, raising funds to do that business and still contributing to the economy. Some of them operate in the agro sector to the extent where they have to sell their personal assets, sell their jewelry to put in the business to be able to produce and export. Some are into mining, some are into furniture making, some are into interior decor, some are into, as I'm speaking to you now, I'm sitting on a cane chair. And in this garden where I am, I can see close to 50 cane chairs and close to 20 tables. So which means somebody who is probably producing these cane chairs is within the SME. And these cane chairs are so beautiful that they can be exported to countries like Benin, like Cameroon, and even within Africa under the AFTA program. All right, and then thereby bringing foreign exchange to Nigeria. So these are the things that we are supposed to be looking at, either as individual, corporate entity, and government, to be able to help this particular sector that is responsible for close to 85–90% area, and also responsible for close to 70% of the GDP of this country. If you remove oil, it's about 80–90%. So why are we not looking at that or this sector? SME funding or SME finding finance. Small and medium-sized enterprises are the lifeblood of Nigeria's economy, accounting for about 84% of employment and contributing significantly to the country's GDP. However, these businesses often struggle to access funding. They need to grow and they need to scale, with many facing significant challenges when it comes to securing financing from traditional sources like banks and other financial institutions. To start a business, you need finance. To grow a business, you need finance. Even to sell a business, you need finance. Like I'm in the consulting world, and I've been in the last 20 years. And if you ask me to introduce myself, most times, I tell you I'm into the business of starting business for people. I'm into the business of growing the business for people. And I'm into the business of selling the business for people. All right. And I say, if the business have issues, I'm like a doctor who comes to diagnose and profess solutions to the sickness of the company. I have found out that to start business, you need money. To scale up, you need money. To sell, you need money. But if you ask me personally, is money the number one factor in starting, in running, in managing, and selling business? I will tell you no, it's not number one. But it is up there for you to succeed, for you to grow, for you to scale. It is up there. You need money to start. But do you need a loan? That maybe not. But do you need money to start? Yes. Or do you need resources to start? Yes. There are some businesses actually you don't need money to start. But when you want to scale at a tremendous level or at a dimensional perspective, or from a dimensional perspective, you need funding. If I'm managing a business of 10 people and I have resources that produces maybe 500 bags per day, and my customers suddenly come and the customers need 10,000 bags per day, there is no magic I will perform. I will need money, and I need to go and borrow, or I might need to sell assets. It is compulsory, because there's no way I'm going to scale from 500 to 10 million to 10,000. It's not possible with my resources, because if I had that resources, I would have been doing more than 500 in the first place. So that's what I'm saying. So for you to scale from 500 capacity to 10,000 capacity, you need finance. And at the same time, you need structure. Because if you do not have the structure, the financial institutions or the donors that are going to give you money might not be able to give you because they know you can't scale. So before you go looking for funding to scale from 500 to 10,000, you need to structure. But the truth is that assuming you have done everything, like they say in biblical terms, you have fulfilled all righteousness, for you to access that money, and the money is not available, or the conditions they are giving to you to be able to access that money have become so stringent, it becomes frustrating. So the limited access in terms of finance, in terms of funding, is a huge problem in Nigeria, and is a major problem that are going to grow, or they are going to start, or they are going to scale. So in a 2018 report by Central Bank of Nigeria, they found out that most significant challenges faced by SME in Nigeria is the access to finance. Another significant challenge is the limited support available from venture capital or angel investor networks. Why those sources of financing do exist in Nigeria, they are relatively small. And often they focus on large, high growth startups. This means that many SMEs are unable to access this type of funding, which can limit their ability to scale. Don't forget that word, scale again, and compete in the marketplace. What is the essence of you starting a business if you can't grow? Well, there's no business starting it. Because if you start a business and the business is not growing, the business is going to crumble. Instead of you eating from the business starts eating you. Because suddenly you can't be able to pay salary. Suddenly you won't be able to buy your raw materials. Suddenly you won't be able to maintain your machines or your equipment. So you find yourself dipping your hands into your personal funds to be able to do that. So that means, according to me, the business is beginning to eat you. But if you run a business that makes profit, or that have a good margin of profit, you'll be able to scale. And what can make you have a business in Nigeria that can give you good margin must be a business that is innovative, or a new business per se. And if you are going into a new terrain, you need money for research and development. Is the truth. You need money for equipment to meet the large scale market supply or demand. Because if you say if you do your feasibility study, for example, and you find out that the market, and you want to start small, by the time you are starting small, your Igbo brother or Yoruba brother or your Kano brother somewhere will enter that business with 300 million. While you are still struggling with 10 million in that business, he has taken the entire business and even bought you off. So that's why you need some level of finance or funding to be able to enter that market and capture a chunk of that market, being a first. There's always the advantage of being the number one or being the first in an industry, is for you to capture the industry before the big boy is coming. But if you don't have the finance or the funding, you can't capture it. And those people who are ready to take the risk with you as a startup are called angel investors, are called venture capitalists. They are very, very few in Nigeria. And the few you find in Nigeria are not even in the real sector. They are not in the agri sector. They are more in the high-tech sector. And why are they in the high-tech sector? High-tech sector, because high-tech sector is you create a small office, probably a virtual office, and it's turning out millions, and it's operating 24/7. So the ability to scale in such IT business or fintech business or high-tech business, the ability to scale is fast, is humongous. All right? Because of our population, and you are restricted by location. Probably you are somewhere in Zamfara, and I am in Lagos. And somebody there is Rekia is somewhere in Kano. Gladys is somewhere in Maduguri. Peter is somewhere in Gombe. And I can sell to all of these people just by fintech. The rate at which the business grow or we grow will be tremendous. So venture capitalists want to invest in that. Venture capitalists and angel capitalists want to go in a high rate of return, a high return on investment, fast, so they can go in and come out. But if you are going into the traditional agri sector, you want to plant, you want to harvest, you want to process, you want to sell. The risk is high. In other developed countries, a lot of the aspects of the value chain have been subsidized by government. And the subsidy of those different sectors of the value chain have been done in such a way that it is productive. But here, the way we do it is to support some certain aspect of agriculture and leave the other aspect. All right. And if you subsidize a certain aspect of agriculture and you leave the other aspect of production, it's going to have issue. If I am able to plant and harvest tomatoes, for example, and I can't process the tomatoes, and I can't get my tomatoes to Lagos, Abuja, Kano, Port Harcourt, Kaduna, the biggest markets in Nigeria, it becomes an issue. Okay, if I'm going to get a truck that will move those produce from somewhere in Kano to Lagos, good for me. Well, I get this truck, and it takes the truck 5 days to move tomatoes from Kano to Abuja, or 5 days to move it to Lagos. Half or 25% of those tomatoes would have gone back. Why is it taking him 5 days or 6 days or 1 week? Bad road. So there is no infrastructure in terms of roads. There are no specialized vehicles that can move my tomatoes from Kano to Lagos in 3 days or 4 days. So I have issues. So you find out that there's a huge market of production of tomatoes in Kano, in Lagos, but the tomatoes is not getting to Lagos. So there's got to be funding all through the value chain. Funding in production, in planting and harvesting, funding in logistics, funding in processing, and funding in exporting. Those fundings can be provided by financial institutions or provided with subsidy by government or international donors. That's it. Next slide, please. So this support is limited. And because it's limited, a lot of SMEs find it difficult to access. And then you see a lot of them begin to die after 2 years or 3 years because there's no funding, there's no support whatsoever. And if the funding and support is coming, it's not getting to the hinterland. It's not getting to the artisanate farmers. It's not getting to the small business in Sokoto or small business in Biu, or the small businesses in Bakassi, or the small businesses in Oro, in Oyo, or the small businesses in Agoiwoye in Ogun State. So what we are saying is that this limited funding and limited finance has a major impact on the growth of SMEs. We will still come to the parts that the SME owners or the entrepreneurs have to play. So I say, why the underfunding? The underfunding for SMEs, I've mentioned some of them before. One of them is because in the Nigerian financial system, we always ask for collateral. And small businesses most times are not rich enough to have a house. They don't have papers for the house. And you need papers for those houses to be able to access the finance. Papers, I mean C of O, arrow of O, and deed of whatever. Okay. Another one is the stifling regulatory policies. Okay. Even the CBN is sometimes do not help matters when they come up with some regulatory policies as it relates to funding. You can't really blame them anyway, because if you go down, you see some other aspects that is originating from our culture. But CBN should be able to develop some policies, come up with some product papers that can address some of the issues that can allow some of these SMEs access finance without having to ask for their father and their mothers. I was involved one time as a stakeholder in the policies that came up with the 200 billion for microfinance banks to be able to lend to on-takers or on the secondary funders or the secondary fund users. And when the CBN came up with the entire policy, I had issues with it. And I questioned a few things in those things, but they refused. So they said 200 million is available for MFB, while at the end of the day, MFB could not access those finance to be able to onward lend to their beneficiaries because they couldn't access the finance themselves. Imagine you saying that For you to be able to access this finance, you must be doing 200 million. How many MFB as at 15, 20 years ago in Nigeria, or community banks in Nigeria then, were doing 200 million or 100 on one hand? Secondly, you said they must provide physical collateral. Meanwhile, you are saying that they should not use the customer's deposit to trade. So I can't use my customer's deposit to buy land. I can't use my customer's deposit to buy assets. Yet you are asking me now to go and bring that same asset to collateralize the loan you want to give me. Anyway, bottom line, government policies at times do. At the end of the day, they were able to change that policy to suit the current realities, and more money base were not able to access. But even then, a lot of them still were not able to access. Whether the funding is still available today, I don't know. But the conditions have been made better because they found out that nobody was able to access. The money was there, but people were not accessing it. Lack of venture capitalists. I've said that. There are no venture capitalists in Nigeria like you have in the developed world. The venture capitalists are those that can help you take your risk. They share the risk with you because they're not charging interest. They come in and some of them take shares, all right? And then they take shares that are hybrid. They can say it is debt now. If you perform very well, we allow it to be debt. But if you don't perform well, it remains debt. You pay us back. That is loan. But if you perform well, we convert some of the debts to equity. It could be hybrid. They could come from that angle. Then commercial banks are too geared to look at SMEs. They are looking at big organizations. They're not looking at SMEs. Their rate of default. This is on the part of the SMEs. We find that a lot of the SMEs, some of us Nigerians, our culture has been so terrible on our sense and understanding of finance that a man goes to borrow money today. The first thing he's thinking is to repair his car, is to marry another wife, is to build a house, is to repair something in his building, is to pay his children's school fees. The business for which he borrowed the money or the money was loaned to him suddenly becomes secondary because he has gotten money. Please, where's my slide? I'm not seeing the slide again. Okay, so what I'm saying is this. You get to a level where it becomes difficult for a financial institution to lend to. You get to a level where it becomes difficult for a financial institution to. You are not financially literate. That brings me to financial literacy. Please, can I see this slide or is my time due? Hello?
We apologize. We're working on the slide, sir.
Okay. All right. So what do I mean by financial literacy? So what I'm saying is this. Apart from this government playing their part, apart from financial institutions playing their part, apart from the fact that we don't have venture capitalists and the rest of them, the role of the SME owner, which is the entrepreneur, is to be financially literate. All right? Okay? Is to be financially, okay. We talk about available options for SMEs. You can get money from cooperative. You can get money from card funding. You can get money from your personal savings. You can get money from your family and friends. You can even get money from Asusu, Ajo, and Adashi. You can get money based on you being able to provide cross guarantee. In which case you form a cooperative around your industry or the industry in which you play, and then you cross guarantee each other to be able to get the finance. You can get finance from development funds. As I'm talking to you here, I am in an NGO or funded by international organization. I'm in their functions. They provide funds for SMEs. All right. So those are developmental funds. Then you can also make or get money to start business from gifts. From that, you can have a very rich uncle or auntie who wants to give you money to go and start your business. Or you can go and disturb their life and terrify them or blackmail them or kidnap them or whatever, just for them to give you money to start your business. That's possible. There's some of you women who have gold. You have done yourself with the gold. When the gold money, and then you make the money back to go back and buy gold again. Or you can liquidate your assets. You can liquidate your investment. You can sell part of your houses, part of your land, or part of your shares, or whatever you have, to make it possible for you to go to raise money. Next slide. To make it possible for you to raise money to fund that SME. I was talking about literacy. I said financial literacy is the part you play as the SME owner in this whole microcosm. Financial literacy is the level of knowledge an individual deliberately acquires in the bid to know more about the management of his or her finance. This is my definition. In Nigeria, some other parts of the world, financial literacy is low. Very few people know the rudiments of money management, and it is the truth. In short, a lot of us, 95% of human beings in Nigeria and worldwide, will run away from how to manage money. We want to get money and spend. Most times, your thinking is about spending on expenses, not on acquiring assets. This has nothing to do with education. It has been proven that even some of the most illiterate and educated people can master the tricks and knowledge of money management than some of us who have PhDs. This can be as a result of upbringing, your culture, the risk averseness in the family, your religious belief, and so on and so forth. So money management has nothing to do with education. It just has to do with your culture and your resolve or your mindset to know how to manage money. Financial literacy or financial illiteracy is the reason why a lot of SME owners are still struggling in Nigeria and even around the world. Simple literacy must be able to differentiate between assets and liability. Assets are those things you have that can give you money. Liabilities are those things that take money from you. Some of you use this as taxi or Uber. Some of you, your cars are liabilities if you always spend money on maintenance. Between income and expenses, simple literacy is for you to know income, money coming in, expenses, money going out from you. Simple literacy is for you to know the difference between profit and loss. Profit is surplus. You finish doing business at the end of the year, the surplus is like a profit. The loss is that you finish doing business at the end of the year, you see that you are spending part of your personal money on that business. Simple literacy must know that there is the need to keep records of all your accounting heads. Differentiate between savings and spending. Differentiate between company money and my money. This is very important in business. Next slide, please. Differentiate between gross profit and net profit. Okay, gross profit includes tax. Gross profit includes another accounting head called overhead. All right, so you can get your gross profit by removing your operational cost. Once you remove your operational cost, what is left is like a gross profit. By the time you now begin to remove other costs, like admin costs and so on and so forth, it can now bring you to the stage where you now remove your tax and you have your net profit. Your net profit can be used next year for the business, and part of it you can take to reward yourself for making profit. Okay? Literacy, financial literacy means you are able to differentiate between credit and debit. Be able to differentiate between credit sales and cash sales. As a businessman, you should know when to do credit sales and you should know when to do cash sales. If you are highly geared on credit, maybe you check your books and find out that you have so many people who are owing you, it's high time you stopped and begin to do cash sales. Or if you want to quickly get the market, you want to quickly get customers, you can do credit sales. And once you get to a certain threshold, you lock off the credit sales and begin to do cash sales. It's for you to differentiate between purchasing costs. Between purchasing costs and selling costs, you will not know whether you are making profit or not. Next slide. Next slide, please. Hello. All right. So for financial literacy, let me try and round up. For financial literacy, if you are not financially literate, it might be difficult for you to even assess the limited finance. Because like we said, human wants are insatiable. Resources are always scarce. It is those people who are financially literate that can assess even the limited finance. And in this case, I'm saying a literate person should know what it means to keep books of accounting. A financially literate person must know that to borrow from a bank, you must bank with that bank, or you must keep your money with that bank. You must ask for your statement of account every month. You must watch the bank charges if you are financially literate. If you're financially literate, it is you're having to know what lenders want and what they require. There are two things. If time permits in future, I can explain what your suppliers want, what your customers want, and the best way to price your goods so that you don't price yourself out of the market. A financially literate person must be ready to expose his books to acid test by bankers and financiers. You must keep a decent book for anybody to be able to look at it. A financially literate person, if you want to be literate for the purpose of borrowing later on, then you must start to learn from today to learn the 5 C's of credit. The 5 C's of credit is that you must try and build a collateral. You must try and have your contribution. Your contribution is what they call equity. All right? What else again? You must also try to be credible. That means your past history. Then you must have capacity, technical capacity and financial capacity. The bankers want to see all of this before they can lend to you. A literate person must learn to demand for and keep receipts. A literate person must learn about tax and levies. A literate person must learn to invest for the purpose of future expenses. Next slide. If you are non-literate, most times it becomes difficult for you to be able to deal with bankers and deal with financiers. And why do you need all of this literacy and knowledge? With limited resources out there, you have to be in the top class to be able to access the scarce resources. Otherwise, you will be floating like almost 50, 60% of owners of SMEs in Nigeria that cannot access finance. Thank you.
Thank you so much. Thank you so much, sir, for that wonderful presentation. I mean, I was almost lost in taking notes, but because of time, let's just go right into some of the questions that we have here. So you mentioned, and especially when you started speaking at the introduction, you defined SMEs considering their financial capacity, you know, in terms of their revenue and then the profits that they make. And I think this ties into a question that I see on the chat box where Mr. Abdullah Mohammed is asking, what are the stages of growth in small businesses? So if you can just speak into that a little, what are the stages of growth in small businesses? I want to assume that some SMEs don't even know if they are MSMEs or they are SMEs yet. So yeah, so what are these stages of growth and how do I know what stage I'm in currently?
First of all, there's a difference between SMEs and MSMEs. There is even another one that is classified now as MSMEs. So there is nano SMEs, there is MSMEs, there is SMEs, and of course there's large businesses. The nano are those ones that are dealing with thousands. Maybe you are still doing that in the informal sector, 100,000, 200,000, and the rest of them as a yearly income. All those people on the streets selling biscuits, chewing gum, those are nanos. Those women with a little table in front of her house, those are nanos. Now, MSMEs are those people that do between that nano level and 5 million. Okay? Then those people that do between 5 million and 500 million are probably SMEs. Okay? And people that do beyond 500 million in a year, those are large organizations. Okay? So that's the best I can classify. Now, another thing about the developmental stages or growth stages for SMEs is there is a starting stage. All right? And then there is a growth stage. There is a plateauing stage. Those are the only 3 stages I can give you for the sake of time. The starting stage is where you start. That is the time you come up with your business plan, your feasibility study, you open the shop, you buy the computer, you put things here, you recruit people, and then you start. That requires money and also requires knowledge. Okay? Now, when you now open your shop to customers, your marketers start going out, or you start doing the jingles, or you start selling online or whatever, people start coming to buy from you. All right? As they start buying from you, your growth stage has started because you were at 0 level before. Suddenly you find out you are doing 100,000 in a month. Suddenly you find out you are doing 300,000 in a month. And suddenly you find out you are doing a million in a month. All right? And as you begin to grow, you begin to get more assets. You begin to buy more machines. You begin to recruit more people. You begin to build accounting systems, you know, and so on and so forth. That's your growing stage. Then you get to a level where you have grown and you find that the rate of growing is not increasing. You are still making money, but your growth is not, it's the rate of growth. There's a difference between growth and the rate of growth. Now, when you move from 100,000 to 200,000, is 100% growth. When you now move from 100,000 to 1 million, is a 1,000 plus growth. Okay, but when you now move from 1 million a month to maybe 1.2 million, you discover that the way you move from 500 to 1 million is about 500% growth. But now you are moving from 1 million to 1.2 million, the rate of growth has reduced. It's now 20% growth rate compared to 500% before. You get that? So your growth is beginning to plateau. That is where you now need to re-inject finance, to look at a business plan to say, what am I doing that I'm not doing right, that is affecting this business, that has affected the business growth? What did I do when I was 500 that moved me to doing that? And if I go back to doing that, how am I going to do it? So you have to come up with that sum, go to bank, raise money, and you start. You get what I'm saying? So when you are plateauing, there is a need to re-inject money. There is a need for you to go back to school. There is a need for you to do research to find out what I did before that grew this business. What am I doing now that is not growing the business? So I've used this answer now to answer so many things for the person. I've used it to answer the different stages, and I've also used it to answer what you need to do at each stage.
Thank you so much, sir, for that. Let me just read through some of the comments we have here. Mr. Stephen Unwe says, thank you, Mr. Franklin, for this thorough and detailed presentation. Thank you, Mr. Stephen, for joining us. We also have a comment from Mr. Abubakar Abdul. He says, how do we access loan through Eguafi Microfinance Bank? It's also worthy of note that this current administration has a lot of money that that is being apportioned to the SME industry. And then I would just like you to speak a little on what are some of the factors that entrepreneurs can consider to better position themselves to access funding. A lot of entrepreneurs want funding, they need funding, but then how do you position yourself rightly to access this funding?
Okay, I've said it while I was making my presentation. I said, first of all, be financially literate. That is the most, for me, like a lot of us who are in the consulting world, we believe that financial illiteracy is the number one why people are not accessing finance. Is number one. So go and be financially literate. To answer that person directly, you can send this slide to the person. Let the person go and look at how I define financial literacy. All those things I wrote there, between you and I never picked it from anywhere. It came from my over 20 years of working with SMEs to find out that some people running business don't even know how to keep books. Some of them don't even check their statement of account. You don't know that your bank is bleeding you. All right? And that you need to check your, see, there was a time a particular client of mine called me and said, Frank, I need money, I'm dying, my business is dying. I sat the person down and I said, okay, yes, you need money. How much do you need? He said, I think he said he needed about 30-something million. I said, okay, what do you have? He said, I have this house, you have that house. I said, these houses are not liquid. And he said, I have this business. I said, of course, you can't send this business because you need the money to put in this business. So what else do you have? I have some useless shares here and there that I bought donkey years ago. I don't even know where they are again. I said, bring them. He brought them. So I called one of my friends, Biodu, who is a stockbroker. Biodu puts those shares together. Stephen, you won't believe it. When they calculated the value of those shares, they were almost 70 million. And this man said he was broke. Because some PZ, some Cadbury, some Pfizer that he bought at 3 naira, 4 naira those days are 1,000, were 1,000 something then. So when they were all valued, the man sold 50% of that. And that's how he got money to put in his business. So my advice to some people is, before you begin to even rush out to go and look for money, look inwards. Look around you. What can you translate to Naira and Kobo? Number one. Then number two, look at yourself. How financially literate am I? If the bank come today and say they want to look at my accounting books, what will they find? Will they find me eating my money, eating my business money, using my business money to carry girlfriend, carry this and carry that? If they find that, they will never give you. But if they find out that you have structure, that is the reason why you need organizations like WenA. If they help you put structure in place, they help you do your business plan, they help you clean up your financials, and the bankers see that you are prudent, and that previously your own money, you managed it well to be able to run that business, they'll be ready to give you. And like I also put there too, as a financially literate person, you need to know what cash flow is. Cash flow is the money that comes out and the money that goes out and what is left. It is what is left that the bankers will look at and say, is this net flow able to accommodate my interest that I'm going to charge? So people will say, I'm making turnover. Yes, you are making 100 million turnover, but your expenses is 99 million. A banker cannot lend to you. Because if he lends you 100 million, for example, in a month, his interest is likely to be close to 1 million. So he lends you 100 million and it takes 1 million naira interest every month. Where is your profit? So you have to go and be financially literate to reduce your expenses, to create that margin of 10 million, where he can take his interest on a monthly basis and be able to still meet with you and take his interest for whatever is left. So for me, I would say the first thing you have to do to be able to learn is go and sit down and read about credit. Go and sit down and think about financial literacy. Once you are financially literate, you will be able to even answer some of the questions that some of those people will ask you before you meet them. If they are going to ask, do you have assets? Asset, what is asset? I don't know the meaning of asset. But I just told you that assets are those things that you have that can generate money. Your equipment is asset. Your car, if you are using it for the business, is asset. And there is even human assets. If you have a human asset, for example, is that if you are into printing and you have a DI and you have somebody who is very good in that DI, who can manage that DI economically, not only technically, but economically, that's a human asset. Because you can have all the monies in this world, have all the machines in this world, and one idiot will kill that business for you. Sorry for my in French. He will kill that business for you, and all the financial literacy you have cannot even translate to money because you have not recruited a human asset. Okay, so if it's a human asset you need, get it. If it's financial assets you need in terms of equipment and the rest of them, get it. If it's equipment you need or investment you need, you get it. So before you now approach the financiers, and they will ask you in relation to the 5 C's, please go and research about the 5 C's. Maybe that will be where you will start a financial literacy from today. Thank you.
Thank you so much, sir. Thank you so much for that. I mean, a lot of business owners today studied biochemistry. We didn't have financial literacy background, or we didn't study accounting. So it's very important, like the MD said in the chat box, that every entrepreneur must invest in financial literacy. Because of time, we can only take one more question, and we'll take that of Mr. James Sule. He says, thank you for the presentation on financial literacy. How do we develop oases of funding outside of the normal financial institutions, since they cannot meet MSMEs' financial needs?
Okay, if I'm to answer directly because of time, if you look at my slide, I listed almost 15 other avenues from which you can raise money. I listed them there. I said you can do crowdfunding, you can do guarantee, cross guarantee, you can even do dash. You can go and kidnap your uncle, in quote, who don't say Dr. Franklin says you can kidnap. You can go and hijack, you just block him at home, say, uncle, give me money or kill me. Women know how to do that. My wife has hijacked me before. When her business was having issues, she hijacked me one day and said, boy, you are not going home. I need 500,000. So you are not going out. I need 500,000, you're not going out. And I had it at that time, and I gave her. All right. So some of you need to blackmail some people. You know, I was a banker, so please pardon me. In banking those days, if you are not meeting up with your target, your boss will say, go and take cocaine. It's not in the literary language, but it's just asking you, go and be high on something to be able to meet your target. So whatever it is you need to do that is within the law to raise money, by all means, do it. I've listed it there. Meet friends. It could be from financial, it could be from investment. We even have goals for women. Some of you women have to go to parties or one and select according to OLX. Select and invest. So there are a lot of ways you can make money without approaching the bank. And also, there are a lot of ways you can also raise money from the bank. WenA, for example, is BDSP to Bank of Industry. If you want to buy equipment, for example, approach WenA. Talk to them. If it's equipment, Bank of Industry can help you, even if you don't have collateral. But as long as you can provide guarantors and you have track record. Even if you want to start, you have never done it before, but you can provide a trail of technical expertise or knowledge in the field you want to play and it's equipment you want to buy. Bank of Industry can help you. WenA can help you do that and pursue it. Thank you.
Thank you once again. Thank you so much for that wonderful presentation and for the answers that you gave to all our questions. And thank you everyone so far who has joined us and has contributed in one way or another during this webinar. We say a very big thank you to you all. We hope you were able to glean one or two things from our speaker's presentation, and then we hope we're leaving you better than you were when you joined this webinar. So thank you very much once again. To go further on the program, we're going to have a brief presentation from the WenA team on some of the products that we have for SMEs currently. So please join me as I make welcome our programs manager, Mrs. Florence Onwume.
Can I take my leave, Steve?
Yes, sir. Thank you so much, sir. Thank you for your time. Thank you.
Good morning, everyone. It's wonderful and great to be here, and I believe we really gained more knowledge on financial literacy program. It was a very impactful session, and my note is full already. I want to talk us through part of our program offers. We are BDSP for BOI. We facilitate entrepreneurs' applications for business loans in the North Central region of Nigeria. Bank of Industry offer financial assistance to various projects, including the establishment of large, medium, and small enterprises, expansion, diversification, modernization of existing businesses, and rehabilitation of existing ones. BOI focuses on various sectors, which include agro and food processing, oil and gas, solid minerals, engineering and technology, creative industries, renewable energy, healthcare and petrochemicals, women and youth. Now, to be eligible for this opportunity, your business must meet the following criteria. First, your business must have been registered with the Corporate Affairs Commission, CAC, for a minimum of 3 years. You should also have a business plan. We can assist you in developing one for you at a fee. Now, the intended use of this loan should be for business expansion. If your business fulfills this prerequisite and you are interested in obtaining a loan from BOI, we invite you to get in touch with us with the subject line BOI loan request application through any of the following communication channels that's pasted on our chat box. We will also share with you all our program offerings if you join our community. Our WhatsApp community and Telegram community is a very active community where you gain more insight and more information about WenA and what we do and other program offers. Now, the second program offer we are currently running is called the Transforming Nigerian Youth Program. The Transforming Nigerian Youth Program is an online entrepreneurship training powered by the MasterCard Foundation and the Enterprise Development Center, EDC, of the Pan-Atlantic University. The program is set to completely transform the mindset of youths in Nigeria to become more entrepreneurial and to equip them to be self-employed or job creators. Also, the program is also equipped to create market access to funding, and provide support services to existing business owners, especially those being run by young people. EDC is desirous of strategically empowering people who are within the network of WenA and fall between the ages of 18 to 35 years. So if you are between the ages of 18 to 35 years and you are interested for this program, especially women, you are welcome to be part of this program by also sending us an email and sending us a message via our chat, and we'll respond to you. WenA, as part of its commitment to supporting and empowering women and youth in Nigeria, is partnering with EDC on this program to build the capacity of 5,000 MSMEs with special focus on agriculture and creative sectors, especially women-led business in Nigeria. So if you're interested, let us know via email. The third program we offer is the WenA Financial Literacy Program. As we spoke, there is a lot of gap in businesses about financial literacy. Most business owners don't even know what financial literacy is all about. So following today's webinar on access to finance and financial literacy, we are excited to introduce our specialized financial literacy program. This program is meticulously crafted to provide you valuable insight into financial matters and to elevate your business acumen. Some of the featured courses within this program encompass needs and wants, understanding your business, investing, managing risk, and financial planning and budgeting. Our program is designed to empower you with a profound understanding of financial concepts and enhance your business skills. If you'd like to enroll for this as well, please communicate with us with the subject line WenA Financial Literacy Program. There are various channels shared. So we thank you for listening to us. And on behalf of the board and management of Women Enterprise Alliance, we want to say a big thank you for attending this webinar. We appreciate you and will continue to engage with you and bring you good needs that you need to enhance and put your business in the spotlight. So we thank you and we look forward to see you at the next webinar. Thank you and God bless.
Thank you very much, Miss Florence Omeri. So in closing, I'll just go through some of the comments in the chat box. I believe we had some comments. I'll just read them out. Mr. Mohammed Awal says, great contribution. Thank you so much for joining us. We also have from Mrs. Oluwatoyin Matthew say, how financially literate are you? A question every business owner should ask. She also advised all to research about the 5 C's, which is crowdfunding, cooperatives, gifts, and family. We also have Rabi Danladi say, good morning all. Delighted to be here. Thank you so much for joining us. We have Rukayat say, thank you so much, sir, and WenA, absolutely worth joining this meeting. Thank you so much. And then Mr. Benjamin says, what about some of our women who are not in the age range of 18 to 35 years, but having that passion for enterprise? What can WenA and EDC do for them? WenA has a range of products and supports that we have for women across all age range. It's just the EDC program specifically is for is for youth and women within the age range as mentioned by Ms. Omeri. That's the age of 18 to 35, but WenA has offers services to women and youth across all age, including men, entrepreneurs in general. So we have programs and products, and we offer services to all, to everyone. Also, Sherifat says, please consider women of 40 years and above. Please, we offer our services to women across all age range. So it's not just limited to the age 18 to 35. Mr. Michael says, thank you so much for the great opportunity. I really like the way you're making everyone happy. God bless you, Mr. Michael. Thank you so much for joining us today. Mr. Jacob says, thanks for the information. Thank you so much for joining us. Abidemi says, let's be an all-inclusive program. Majority of businesses, women, sorry, I think I mixed that up very quickly. Oh, I can find that again. Okay, so Lizzie says today's webinar is quite engaging. Thank you for the discussion on shares. I learned a lot. Thank you so much, Lizzie, for joining us. I think that's as many as I can take for now. So I want you all to please do me a favor, and if you can please turn on your camera so that we can take a very quick screenshot. Please, we enjoin you to please turn on your camera very briefly. It's going to be very brief. Everyone, please turn on your camera so that we can take a very quick screenshot for our social media and then our other community, just for the optics. Please put on your camera. If you can hear me, please put on your camera so that we can take a very quick screenshot. Thank you so much. Thank you so much. Thank you so much. Can everyone just unmute their mic and say WenA, or just wave? If you can unmute your mic and just say WenA. Thank you, WenA.
WenA, wonderful section.
Thank you so much for joining us.
Thank you, WenA.
Wonderful section.
Thank you.
Thank you,
WenA.
Thank you. So in closing, we'll see you all next month at the WenA Connect. Thank you so much and God bless you. Have a wonderful day.
Bye.
Thank you.
Bye-bye. Bye.
Okay, go ahead.
This is Samuel Chukwunoso, the founder and CEO of Pakrauti. What a man can do, a woman can do better. When you go to major organizations at the moment, you find out that women are actually occupying the major positions. We believe that women will join men in driving digitization in Africa. And having seen that, I love what is happening at WenA Connect. They're actually focusing on all of this. And to build the future we all deserve, everybody needs to be on deck. All hands needs to be on deck.
There's no reason why you should be looking for people to invest in your business to start. That doesn't show seriousness. Your business must have started, no matter how small, and you must have a certain degree of records for you to be able to say to whoever you're talking to that this business is up and going, but I need to go to point B, and that's where I need you to help me.
At work, you have to taste it, because your husband refused to listen to your story. What they want to do here, what they want to be able to hear is deliver. And when you deliver, believe me, many business will come.
The next thing is how to communicate your value to the marketplace. How to convince me that I need to, that I should buy small chops from you rather than buying from site.
And secondly, which is the next step, getting to the point where you need to pitch to the audience. You tell a story, you have to tell a compelling story, a story that will connect with everybody.
My name is Sahid Kekeriako, popularly known as Sahito, the king of small chops. I want the women to occupy the business space because why? The women are more tender-hearted, they are more caring, they listen well. And the women, they are not actually excessive. Because they are thorough. Women will always put you, they will always channel through the right way, right path. And I believe when they give them the opportunity, I believe they'll deliver.
My experience here at WenA Connect has been an interesting one so far. I've learned a lot about ways I can improve my business and ways I can grow my business into a global and a standard one of what I see the business to become.
WenA Connect, they encourage women entrepreneurs. They're passionate, they are supportive, there's care, and from what I see, love, basically, helping women to hold their hands.